Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's the Eradicator, and in today's video, well, look at that. Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, Knights of the Mediterranean. What is that? Let's have a look at a quick video. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm really happy with what I'm seeing. Well, happy and disappointing. It's kind of an excitement and a letdown. Two new civilizations. The Italians, guys. I have been calling for it for a very long time. This civilization has had perhaps the most potential out of all of the missing civilizations because of everything the Italians, as divided as they were, but also later as when they were united, have achieved in history. It's amazing that they have not been in Age of Empires 3. I know that for a very long time Age of Empires 3 focused on the Americas. Obviously the Italians have not been interested in colonizing the Americas, but they have been interested in colonizing some parts of Africa. There has been some potential there. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but first let's have a look. So their hometown here that we're seeing as here is Venice. A little bit disappointed that we're seeing the Italian flag because of course this flag came up only until the end of the last part of the 19th century. The Italians were divided for a very long time until the middle of the 19th century, so very late in game. Well, still within the time period of the game, but still very late nevertheless. So I wish that we could have seen maybe other types of flags than the Italian tricolor flag. Just like, for example, we're seeing the flag of the Holy Roman Empire for the Germans. We could have seen maybe something else. Maybe the flag of the Piemontes or the Savoyers. Anyway, the Maltese, very interesting. Now, if you don't know who the Maltese are, we've seen them a little bit in the original campaign of Age of Empires. You know, when you looked at the order, the beginning, the order of Malta, where John, I think it was John Black, or Alan Black, whatever, the very first hero came from Malta originally in the campaign, and it makes sense that we're seeing them as a civilization first because they were extremely rich and powerful in the Mediterranean. They had obviously their own fleet. They were a religious order, but at the same time, they did have a few colonies in the West Indies. I think that the Virgin Islands belonged to them for a brief period of time, if I remember. So kind of makes sense to also put them in Age of Empires 3 because, well, they had a small presence for a certain period of time in the West Indies too. So I'm really glad to be seeing them. Plus, I love Malta. I've been there a couple of times, and it's a beautiful, beautiful island. So, 8 historical new maps. That is also something that we haven't seen before in Age of Empires 3 because, well, the maps are kind of inspired by real locations, but not actual real maps. And we have the list here of we have the Italian Wars. The Italian Wars were the wars of the 16th century, mostly the French trying to conquer Italy, the 8 Years' War, the Deluge. I have no idea what the Deluge is. The Great Turkish War, Great Northern War, the Napoleonic War. Oh my gosh! How long have you ever tried to play have dreamed of playing the Napoleonic War in Age of Empires? The Russo-Turkish Wars, which probably is going to be culminating with the Crimea War back in the middle of the 19th century, and the 30 Years' War. Of course, this one is a multiplayer exclusive diplomacy mode. It would be interesting to be checking this out as well. A new kind of gameplay that's happening also in Age of Empires 3. Let's keep on going. So these are some of the new aging possibilities. Brand new game mode. Now this is the Tycoon Mode. The Tycoon Mode is basically you have a couple of objectives here, some challenges that you have to complete throughout the game in order to then winning the game. This is not necessarily always fighting, although I do suspect that fighting will be involved, but it's more going to be obviously about the economy. I like that too. Now, there are going to be some very interesting new units as well coming up for another video, perhaps. Now, I'm really liking, look at these all the towers here, very typically Italian, obviously. I like the looks of the new maps, which look absolutely stunning at the same time. That is perhaps, and then we're looking at Germany here, some German maps, perhaps part of the 30 Years' War. And that is here some Italian buildings that we are seeing here. Very Italian type of landscape with the trees, especially the cypress trees, very typical here. So what are we having here? So Two new civilizations, as we said. Malta guard the Mediterranean against insurrections with unique fortifications, don shining armor to fend off attacks and shell opponents from afar with fixed guns. Those that we saw in the campaign, remember those fixed guns from the campaign? There we are, they're making their way into the game. Fire throwers and great swords win battles, but the superior logistics of your commanders win wars. Luckily, you can have both. Fighting at sea with the older galleys may wet the gunpowder, but your balisters won't mind. You can always restock at a gunpowder depot or blow it up when an enemy army marches past. And there's Italy here. Unite wealthy merchant republics, duchies, and papal states while new settlers flock to your booming empire with every technological breakthrough and architects to construct buildings for free. Buildings are going to be free. Isn't that amazing? I really wonder how unique that type of gameplay is going to be, and I'll definitely be trying it out as soon as it's out. Invest at the Lombard to optimize your economy and turn a quick profit, or construct a towering basilica and send papal soldiers to strengthen and complement your army. Use shielded pavasiers to lure opponents into an ambush of bersaglieri, or let Elmeti lower their lances and carry the day with a thundering charge. Now, here is the Tycoon mode here. Tycoon is a brand new, casual-friendly game mode that puts the economy on economy superiority over military domination, although it's probably going to be happening as well. Free from pressure of head-to-head play, this new mode allows players to explore and strengthen economic strategies that they can then leverage in other game modes through Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, or perhaps no combat. I would have liked to see some combat, but anyway. Historical maps, as we said before. Now, this is where, guys, I'm really loving this, but this is where I believe that we are seeing a missed opportunity here. I wished that there could have been a campaign, two campaigns. First, the obvious campaign would have been the Italian conquest, or at least the attempt from Italy to conquer Ethiopia. And I would have loved to play that campaign as the Ethiopians, because obviously the Ethiopians won and the Italians were not able to conquer Italy until the 20th century. Nevertheless, it would have been a great opportunity to use some of those civilizations from the African DLC, because we've only have scenario, but no campaign, and have a proper campaign. We don't have this, and I think that it is a shame. Number two, there could have been a great campaign with Malta as well. How did Malta eventually end up with, some few tiny colonies in the West Indies? Was there an attempt? How did that happen? What was the scenario that led to this from happening? I would have loved to see that tiny little burgeoning colonial empire from the Knights from the Knights Hospitalier happening here in the West Indies in the form of a campaign. And again, another DLC with no campaign. I think that this is also a shame. It's great that we're seeing new game modes, but this should have come in a free update. It's great that we're seeing two civilizations, alright, but the price of $9.99 for this is way too high. In my opinion, I'm going to get that because I need to cover that for the channel. But if I were you guys, I would suggest you guys to wait for this to go on sale, because it's definitely not worth the price. There's not enough content here to be charging $10 for this. This is obviously outrageous. For $10, you don't charge a couple of maps and a new game mode that could have been for free, and two civilizations. You charge also for a campaign, and it's not there. And that's the criticism I would have. I'm so happy to see the Italians finally. Malta, great idea, but no campaign. That's a bad deal for me. Anyway, guys, that's all for this video. There we go. Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, Knights of the Mediterranean. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. That's all for this video. A huge shout out to everyone who's been helping me out on Patreon and via the YouTube Join membership program. Creating content on YouTube involves continuous circles of ups and downs, and it is when we are the lower parts of the curve that your help really motivates me to keep on going. Your contribution really does make a difference, which is why in return I try to give back by offering backers access to my private Discord channel, automatic access to exclusive giveaways, or answering your questions during the show. You can help me out with as little as $1 a month, and any help is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for watching again. This is the Eradicator. I'll see you guys later.